Thank you. The obvious first application of AI here is my photo on the screen. I got some feedback that my LinkedIn profile, which is a real photo not AI generated, was very intimidating and angry looking. And so I fed 20 images of myself into AI, and I got an image that's even more intimidating and angry looking. So that just tells you something about me. But super happy to be here. I live in Seattle, in the United States. This is my sixth time in Galway. It's like a second home at this point, so I love being here. I'm going to talk to you today just about my point of view, so I should disclaim this. This is my point of view on where I see this AI revolution going over the next 2, 5, 10 years, both from a healthcare perspective as well as a general product management perspective. A little bit of background on me. I've had a very, very, very diverse career. So I actually started my career as a professional athlete. I played baseball for the Tampa Bay Rays for a very short period of time before I decided to blow out a knee and had to find a different career. So being a high school teacher, did that for almost 10 years, and then with my brother, I created this little concept to create cartoon characters for teachers to use in the classroom. That evolved into an app that probably many of you have used called Bitmoji that we then sold to Snapchat in 2015. And from there, my kind of career in tech just took off, and I've been doing a lot of stuff from Taco Bell. Is Taco Bell a thing in Ireland? It is? It's coming soon. Amazing. So my team was responsible for building a lot of the technology that's in the restaurant, helping make those items that are delicious. Moved from there to Amazon, where my team was responsible for building. I know all of you have gotten a package from Amazon, and that was basically delivered on the technology that my team was building. So last mile technology, building all the routing algorithms, the experiences for the drivers to keep them safe, productive, all those things. And then about 3 years ago, entered into healthcare, which was totally new space to me. Did so because making an impact is really important to me, and here I'm able to apply the skills that I know and do something good every single day. All right, so that's me in a nutshell. We are in the midst of our fourth industrial revolution, right? The world is changing at an unbelievably quick pace right now, and AI is kind of at the center of all of that, right? So if you think about the revolutions that happened before this, they all span between 150 years, and now we're getting faster and faster and faster, and the way that the technology is changing how we operate, it's condensing these timelines. So I caveat this by saying I'm going to talk to you today about my view of the 3 horizons of this next revolution, but I have no idea what's actually going to happen. What I propose is going to happen in the next 2 to 5 years could come true in the next 6 months, 9 months, who knows? But all I know is that there's going to be some fundamental shifts that happen in our society, in the way we do business, and as product managers in the room, as the way that we build product. So let me get into these. Oh, that's the wrong slide. So horizon number 1 I call AI as a co-pilot. This is where we are right now. Hopefully, all of you in this room are using AI every single day in the way that you operate and work. From a healthcare perspective, it's all about trying to create more personalized patient interactions, making sure that we're using AI to make our operations better, our clinics more efficient, so on and so forth. And from an AI perspective, it's trying to think of that AI partner who's working with you to help make you more productive. Okay, that's where we are right now. Anyone here not using AI yet? Okay, good. I'm glad no hands on that. But here's one thing that's really important for us to think about as product management. Over the past year, I have seen countless demos, I've heard countless proposals about, I want to use this AI tool to solve X, Y, Z. Now, this graph here talks about general skepticism of AI as a solution by age grade demographics. The reason this is important for me in particular, most of the customers that I serve are in that 65 plus category. And if you look here, you see that distrust grows tremendously in this population. So if I am trying to present an AI solution to my customer who doesn't trust AI, what's going to happen? I'm going to create a lot of friction that I don't necessarily want. And in my business, building trust is one of the most important things I can do, right? So for example, in one of our core businesses, we have call center agents who call these members, say, hey, we'd like to have someone come into your home, set up an appointment with you to talk about your medical history. It's a very hard problem for a human to do with a human because it's a stranger asking a stranger to let a stranger into their house and talk about their most intimate personal details. If that person who we're calling on the phone knew there was an AI agent, what's going to happen? They're going to say no instantaneously. So the way that I think about using this technology now until this equation changes, which it will, is thinking of it as an assistant. So instead of that person saying, hey, I'm an AI robot who's going to set up this appointment for you, it's a human who, once they get them to the point of saying, yep, I'm ready to set an appointment, they say, great, I'm going to pass you off to my assistant now who will help take you the rest of the way to schedule this appointment. Does that make sense? Okay, so thinking about how you leverage AI for the right use cases, not just using AI for AI's sake. So the survival guide for you all in this room or in the product field for this current horizon is number one, embrace it. I've also heard a lot of AI skepticism. Oh, AI is just all hype. It's definitely not hype at this point. That's something that I've become very, very, very clear on, okay? Get fluent with using AI tools. This is one mistake I see a lot of product managers do. They get really comfortable with ChatGPT and say, I've mastered AI. There's so many different tools out there, and the real power comes when you start thinking about how you use those tools with each other. Start integrating them with each other. Start playing with AI, run some pilots. Internal pilots are super easy. Having your team change the way that they build PRDs from actually manually writing them to having AI write them. Find some easy use cases first. Just learn how the technology gets applied, learn how it gets used. Start developing that AI literacy. You don't need to be an ML expert, but you definitely need to, right now, start understanding how these LLMs are being developed and made and how they can be applied. So start getting that literacy now. Really importantly, ask not only can we, but should we do it? That goes back to the use case example I had. And then finally, start building your judgment around data and its uses. I talk a lot to my team also about the ethical and sustainable implications of AI. So always thinking about how the choices you make to use AI play an impact on our society today and in the future. Okay, that's Horizon 1. Okay, this is where it starts to get a little bit more murkier, but I'm feeling like 80% confident on Horizon 2 as well. Okay, so Horizon 2, 2-ish years out is my guess, and I call this AI as a provider. So this is where AI, instead of just becoming an assistant who sits next to you, or in the healthcare space, someone who's assisting a clinician do diagnostic work, we now have AI as a healthcare actual provider. Someone who might actually be doing diagnostic work with you. Someone who might be providing some preventative care, doing some of the most basic healthcare stuff for you. Someone who might make, if you think about all the IoT stuff that's being paired with AI, doing that remote monitoring and being able to take advantage of being just in time for the care you need instead of being reactive, which, at least in the United States, is how our healthcare system works for the most part. That's where we're going. AI is going to be really, really powerful for that. In the role of product, this is where I think in the next 2 years we're going to have this immense change. I see the emergence of what some people have dubbed the super IC. Has anyone heard that term before? Okay, so think about it like this. Today, your team has your product person, your designer, your engineer, your analyst. I think those all become one role. And I think people are going to be able to start to take control of that full stack and develop all those capabilities by themselves. And the people who are going to really win in this game are those who can think with all of those methodologies at once. We've been having a big debate this week about which role is going to be most impacted. And what we've come down to is it's not going to be any individual role, but the people who are going to win and emerge are the people who can think like all of those roles and who take the time to develop those skill sets. So that's the big thing that I think is going to be emerging. The other thing that I think is going to be super, super important, I like to use the analogy of cars. When the first Model T got rolled off the production line, how many regulations were there about the use of motor vehicles anywhere in the world? There were none. Now we have extreme safety standards. You have to have seatbelts. You have to have all these crash tests. Right now, we're in an AI wild, wild west. There are no rules. These are going to start emerging, and one of the things that we can do as product managers is help shape that future by being thoughtful about how we use this now, right? Because if we get into a world where this starts getting really heavily regulated, it's going to make it harder for us to progress in the innovations that are so, so, so important for society. So start developing your point of view on the ethical uses of AI, understand its impacts to the environment, how you can combat those things. You're also going to become even better at telling the value story, right? How does AI-generated tools create value for the organizations that you're in? And last but not least, you will need to be a continuous learner. What's so true is that, like I said, 2 years out, I have no idea, but there's going to be so much happening so quickly that if you are not constantly hungry to learn and being very curious about all the things, you're going to get left behind. Okay? So my survival, sorry. So again, I forgot I have all these great stories here. I've got to go faster though. One of the great examples right now is there was a recent study done with about 50 participants that looked at the effectiveness of an AI chatbot versus a doctor at diagnosing illnesses. They had 3 groups. They had one that was doctors by themselves, doctors with AI assistance, and AI alone. Anyone want to guess which one did the best? Yeah, which one? 2. No, the answer is AI by itself did better. So this is to say that Horizon 2, which I said 2 to 5 years out, is close. It's already there. The applications in therapy are immense, and we're seeing a lot of really good results that an AI bot can be as effective as a traditional CBT-based psychotherapist today, right? There's still the trust piece, right? We have to overcome that. People have to start trusting that these bots are going to be able to do this before we get there. So your survival tools, start mastering your technical tools. If you're a product manager who doesn't have knowledge in some of the more technical elements, start learning about them so that when that super IC role emerges, you know what you have to do, you know the language, you know how to talk to people, so on and so forth. Cross-train aggressively. I am a human-centered product leader. I believe that the power of design is one of the most unbelievable things that you can unlock. If you don't know good design thinking, how to do good UX research, how to do good UI evaluation, start learning that right now, because that's something that I think AI is going to struggle with for some time. Build AI first products, so always be thinking with your product, how do I leverage AI to actually build this product? Keep on top of regulations. Learn about this, goes back to the whole learning piece. So start learning about the regulations that are emerging, thinking about how you're going to build with those in mind, and then last but not least, move away from thinking about the individual feature and start thinking about the ecosystem of the systems that you're building around. Okay? This is your survival kit for Horizon 2. Now you've got 2 years. Remember, there's a whole stuff, homework you gotta do for the next 2 years. This is where we're getting. Are you ready for the exciting future, Horizon 3? Okay, Horizon 3, 5 to 10 years out. This is my biggest bold prediction. Within 10 years, I think we're going to solve the human mortality, or human immortality. I think we're close to a point where we're reaching singularity, where we're going to get to a place where humans will actually be able to reverse their own aging process, and the only way that we die is through some sort of terrible accident. And I think that's because with the pace and acceleration of some of this technology, we're going to be able to get so far ahead of disease before it becomes so crippling to us that it kills our bodies. We're already seeing emergences in nanoscience to be able to implant machines that you can't see inside of our body and understand what's happening at a cellular level before we would even feel the symptoms of it. And then hopefully they'll be able to start attacking those with targeted therapies. It's going to be amazing. The role of product, I have no idea what this is going to look like. I'm happy that I'm maybe 10 to 15 years away from retirement, because I just got to survive for this part, and then I can figure something else out. For those who are younger, this is going to be an exciting time. And I know there's a lot of people who are very, very nervous, but what I will say too is every single major industrial revolution stage has had a period of pain, but then we've always come out on the other end much, much better. So don't be afraid of it, embrace it, be ready for it, and you're going to be just fine. I promise that. Okay? I can't promise it, machines might take over. Yeah, this is not just my perspective, by the way. A top scientist at Google recently declared that we have reached singularity, and we're about to be there by 2030. This is their prediction, so we're in that 10-year frame. Your survival kit for Horizon 3, aside from prepare yourself to fight the machines if it comes to it, is one, cultivate that deep expertise domains. And this is where being an expert in your space is going to become even more important, so you can really understand the end-to-end ecosystem extremely well. Learn to lead cross-disciplinary teams, and this is beyond just thinking about your engineering teams and your UX teams. This is about leading your regulation teams, your lawyers, all of those things. Think about yourself as the individual CEO of your small company, right? Leading all these other functions. And maybe those employees you're leading are actually AI agents. You don't know. Could be that. Make sure that you develop a strong point of view on the ethical implications of AI as we progress in the further in society. And finally, stay human. That is one thing that machines will never be able to do. They will never be able to be human. Always keep an eye on the empathetic elements that create the human experience, the personalized touch that only humans can do, so on and so forth. Some of the risks and ways to mitigate it. So again, we're embracing AI. I should also say all these pictures were generated this morning using AI to help me. And this was the one I was hey, show me something about the risks of AI, and this was the slide I with like this big like AI cube up there and the robots just taking over. So anyways, I don't think this is going to happen. But some obvious risks are around the data bias and fairness. There's stories all the time about, I was just telling you about, I got really nervous when I saw Grok basically start being a Holocaust denier. I was like, ooh, this makes me a little nervous. So constantly question the quality of the data, make sure that you're always probing into where that data is coming from. Trust and explainability. Obviously, trust is the biggest thing we're going to have to overcome. This is the one thing that I really do wonder how far we'll be able to get humans to actually trust the outputs of AI. But the way that we can do that is by applying it in the right way. So if we start applying AI in the right way to solve real problems in a human-centered way, that will help build trust, which will help make it easier for us to deploy more and more models of this. Again, regulatory evolution is coming. I know it is. We're already starting to see some seeds of it. Keep an eye on that and make sure that you're adapting to whatever those frameworks are. The workforce transformation, that's the obvious one. There's going to be a reskilling. Another just quick anecdotal story. One of the first things I introduced in a Taco Bell was a order kiosk screen. And the feedback that I got from all the employees who are working at Taco Bell instantaneously was, you're trying to take my job away from me. Because instead of someone ordering at the cash register with a human, they were going to do it on a touch screen in the restaurant. And my response is, I'm not going to fire a single person because of the screen. What I want you to be doing is a more value-added role, like interacting and engaging with your customers, rather than doing something that is a very simple rote procedure, right? So that's what we're going to need to be thinking about, is how, when these jobs do condense, which they will, how do we create new jobs that create better outcomes for people? There's going to be plenty of them out there. I don't know what they are yet. And then last but not least, thinking about how these systems scale and how they operate as a whole ecosystem. These are the big risks that we have to overcome the ways to mitigate. So just to leave you, my takeaways for you today to navigate these next 3 horizons are: 1, just to deepen your AI understanding. No matter how much you think you know, you don't know much yet. There's no one in the world who has more than 5 years of AI expertise at this point, or very, very, very few people. So we're all still so new at this. Develop and deepen your understanding. 2, be the champions of ethical AI, right? I think it's so exciting right now that we're not talking about it enough. We're not talking about the impacts that this could have on the environment, the impacts this could have on society. Have those conversations. Just be mindful of it. Just being mindful of it at the very least will help you make better decisions here. Cultivate these cross-functional skills. Wherever your strengths are, start working on some of your weak areas and get better at those. Bolster your strengths. And last but not least, think beyond the product. Think about the ecosystem of all the work that you're doing and how we can apply this in many more use cases. And I think that's all I have. Good.